competitive instinct kicks in.
You don't slow down for anything.
Can they make up this gap?
They're really having to work hard. You've got all your favourites for the Olympic Games in one pack here. I'm actually nervous now.
Sometimes especially when my swim lets me down, I have to ride myself back into the race. Sometimes that doesn't happen, like in Tokyo, but at the end of the day, like, you have to play the cards that you have, and sometimes the best option for me is just riding, and whoever's with me is with me. And like, the one advantage I do know is that if some people are with me, they're giving me an aerodynamic advantage, so it's better than if I was all alone, but at the same time, then I'd like to lose them.
We're underway in Montreal. I just wonder what's going through Taylor Knibb's mind. That could be bad news for the chasers if she stays there for any length of time. Does she fancy a little bit of a surge?
Well,
I think the answer is yes. The answer is yes. Yet again, we see the power of Taylor Knibb on the bike. Because Knibb, I don't think will give them a moment's respite.
This is just her second nature, it's just what she does.
Taylor Knibb, she's incredible, having an absolute crackerjack of a race.
I have no idea where I get like my power on the bike from. I think it's also like I'm not always at 100%, and I can hide that a little bit. Like, I think there have been very few times in my life where I really feel like it's 100%. It's just like this amazing feeling. And like last year, I'd say I was very below where I wanted to be and where I can be. So it's also, that's tough. Like, I'm guessing that some people who are really good runners have that same feeling where it's like, you know what, like, they're good enough, but it's not their best, and that's frustrating. But I think from the start of when I started racing draft legal triathlon in 2013, like, I had this bike weapon, and in part I had to develop that and use that because I didn't have the run, and I still probably don't have the run to run with the best women in the world, but hopefully that gap is getting closer. But unlike the bike where you can just develop yourself very quickly because you can just put the work in, running's a little different with injuries, so you can't just like put that work in, and maybe that's where my strength comes from, and that like I love the work, like I love training. The race weeks are a little painful for me in some capacities because you remove a lot of the fun of the training and the day-to-day process, and so I think maybe the bike's just the most direct route of like you put in the work and you see the results. No, actually, there's like always a bit of me that's like very relieved to finally get off my bike, because it's like, okay, and especially like with like maybe 1K or 2K to go, it's kind of like, okay, if I got a flat, could I ride it to transition? Like, you always want to get off the bike, and you want to get off the bike at the appropriate time, not before that time. Like, crashes do occur, mechanicals occur, flats occur. It's just, it's part of the sport as much as you try to mitigate it. So there's still a bit of anxiety and stress, and also I think you're just subject to some of the other athletes, especially when you're around them, and just safety-wise, like, they don't mean to harm you, but sometimes you could get hurt, and that's not fun.
Well, the graze is there, that'll be sore.
Oh, and there's a big off at the back of that group. Down on the deck and looking really worse for wears after that.
Again, carnage around that corner.
frustrating for her.
Well, you can see a crash there. That's it with the main chasing group. Never know in this sport, do you?
So on the scale from 1 to 10, my bike is maybe 7. Because I think for me the bikes is the hardest part to work on. It's been a lot of work to get into something okay. It has never been like really natural to understand how to take a good turn, how to stay in a pack and manage to be in a good position.
This is going to be absolutely sensational. Anything can happen. Coninx happens to be at the front of that 17 or 24-man bike group.
This is the most motivated we've seen a front pack for probably all season. Got Nicole, Richard, Berger, Coninx, yes, so they're all up there in that group.
First objective of the bike is always to be able to run after, because even if you have a big gap, if you are completely smashed, you can't run at all. But with knowing that, I will still try to push like to the limit that I can reach with running after. The main focus is to find that limit and to stick to it. In Paris, the bike course is not really technical and it's really fast. So I think if we want to have a breakaway, it has to be after T1 and trying to keep a gap that have been created on the swim, because I don't really think it's possible to go out of a peloton at that speed. When we speak about really strong bikers on the World Series, there is 2 names who come to my mind. It's Kristian and Hayden. They are both pushing really hard, but both in a different way. Maybe Kristian is more like really high pacing.
This is going to be a genuine test of the athlete's stamina.
He's one of the strongest riders in the field, so got to be looking where Blummenfelt is.
You know, if you're a young racer coming up against Kristian Blummenfelt for the first time, you might be a little intimidated. It's never much of a let-up when he's at the front, that's for sure.
Blummenfelt.
Had to be.
I feel like you get that excitement from him. These constant surges, applying the pressure.
Hamburg was maybe my best race last year in short course. Like, it was 4th place, even though it's super short. Like, the fact that you have to do it 3 times in 1 day, and you are sort of out in race mode for like maybe I think it's like 4 or 5 hours. It's almost bringing in a little bit more like the endurance base again, because you have to race and then you have to sort of stay warm and sort of focused, and then you have to race again, and that takes a lot of energy. The fact that I was able to feel I was that close to the best guys gave me confidence, but I wish I was able to sort of transform that into an Olympic distance more than what I've done since then.
There's Blummenfelt.
I think anyone in that pack's just got to keep an eye on him.
Kristian Blummenfelt has started working. Seen Kristian Blummenfelt on the front for quite a long time now, so
His talent been evident from a pretty early stage.
nothing is going to stop him. He's unstoppable, and that might get into the heads of his competitors.
The course in Paris has been made with maybe some beautiful monuments around, but the course itself, it's a very flat, open road where it's sort of easy for guys to just sit in the pack, and in order to break away or do some damage on a group, like you have to produce an enormous amount of power, and it's more about preparing for that run race and being able to run like 29 minutes 10K or maybe even faster. So
Hey everyone, I'm Tommy Zafiris and we're here at the Paris 2024 Olympic Test Event. We're gonna ride the bike course and give you guys a glimpse into what the actual Olympic course is gonna be like. This is transition area / finish line, where we're on a bridge, Alexandria III. Straight out the gates, you rocked right onto some cobbles. It's actually quite rough. I was surprised.
The cobbles in Paris can be a bit tricky because, especially because of the tire pressure, and we found what should be our best option. The tire cannot be so soft and not be so hard, and I think 30 to 40% of the course are cobbles. You have to find the balance between both of them. It will be really hard to have a small breakaway, especially because of that U-turn 800 meters out of the T1. Because when you are almost reaching your maximum speed, you have to stop and then get the speed again, and I think that is something that brings everyone together.
Well, yeah, the Paris course is absolutely incredible. I hope I'm not biting my words, like I'm just hoping it's a dry course that day. I don't know how it'll play out. I think it's different based on who's there, which kind of shape they're in, and kind of like how the swim plays out, because who you exit with the water with can have a dramatic impact. I think that'll have a bigger impact in Paris because it might be harder to break away because you're just at such high speeds the whole course, but you never know. Some people are saying that it's possible to break away on that course, but I just hope they keep thinking that. So we'll see. They might be right, but it's always impossible unless you think it's possible. So you gotta sometimes have to try. So.
As you can see, another pinch point. So it goes from 2 lanes down to 1 lane. Through the buildings, you never know what's gonna happen with wind. So a lot of times the buildings can block the wind, and then when you go to a cross street, you get a massive gust.
But there's also some sections where the road is larger and you have more space to move, that sometimes it's not better to stay in the front. It changes between courses. There's some courses like Hamburg that it's better to stay in the front the whole time, but there are some courses that you can position yourself better, some sections that you don't need to be in the front the whole time. So it depends.
We're going parallel to the Seine right now.
So they're coming through to complete their first lap of 7.
And that's the Olympic bike course. Thanks for following along. See you guys soon.
My bike out of 10, I'm going to give myself a 10. If I can, in triathlon world, on technical courses. That's my strength. That's probably where I feel most confident and not remove people, but make it as hard as possible to sort of suit my strengths.
It's a crucial point in the race now. I see a little look back there from Flora. But head down on the bars. Flora Duffy's at the front. Now Flora Duffy is like a great rider, but also technically.
A familiar riding pose of Flora Duffy. She was going to retire after the Bermuda race. I just have a sneaking suspicion we might see her in Paris. Treated like a, well, I was going to say a hero. It's more like a god in Bermuda, to be honest.
There's a few really strong women on the bike that you kind of like know are willing to work and really push it and kind of like get a small breakaway away. So when you can like align everything and be up the front with them and really pushing the pace and the corners and the technical aspects, like, yeah, it becomes really fun and really dynamic and very hard too, but that's nice. The dream scenario in Paris would to be come out of the water with, yeah, the likes of Taylor Knibb, Maya Kingma, Georgia Taylor-Brown. Yeah, there's a few women that you're like, oh, boom, this is perfect. We know immediately you want to work, you can trust their wheels, you know they're not going to like do soft pulls or not take pulls. Like everyone will be committed to getting a small breakaway away and establishing a gap and keeping some of the faster runners out of the front of the race. But yeah, for that you need a few things to line up, and every now and then they do, and it just becomes like, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So yeah, I'll certainly be looking for that to happen in Paris. But the one thing that like has evolved from sort of this swim bike group is that most of the top swim bikers can now also run some of the top run splits, and I think that's been one of the biggest evolutions over the last few years, that kind of have to be one of the first few out of the water, one of the strongest on the bike, and then you're probably running one of the top 5 run splits. So it really becomes this whole complete athlete that's winning these races now, and you can't really have a weakness or kind of like slip up and swim or bike because you might not get back into the race. And so, I mean, that also kind of makes it intense, that like each individual portion like really matters and really makes a difference to how you finish overall.
My bike is probably one of the strongest. It's funny because in the front group, it's weird because you're so motivated in the front because you want to stay away. I think you kind of know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and you play on that, and you just work well as a group. But yeah, in the chase packs, they're often a lot bigger, so it's harder to get it rolling and get it running smoothly, which is why the gaps always go out.
That was an excellent transition for Taylor Brown.
They've got Taylor Brown in there, and she's got so much experience. She'll get this group going. Kind of the general in the group.
Just look at the talent in that group. Taylor Brown, Olympic silver medalist.
We'll see her today in that race mode, and the tactics will all come into it.
Technical, I used to be quite good, like in the Leeds City Centre course. That was really, really fun, and it was kind of like a mini crit circuit. But now, yeah, I don't know, technically I don't feel as confident. Yeah, I'm strong enough, but it's funny, I wish I was, I watch like the cyclists racing and they're attacking and they're staying away. And I'm like, why can't I do that? And like, I would love to be able to attack and stay away, but I don't have that oomph, like I don't have that power. But yeah, no, I think I can always contribute to a group and get it working. I do like to get the group motivated and working, and yeah, no, I think my cycling, I've still got some improvements to make there, and there's stuff that I still need to do. But no, I love riding my bike. I enjoy it the most. No, Taylor Knibb is, yeah, she's definitely the person that you're thinking about before the race, and you want to know where she is, because if she's in front out the water, then you're going to have a really good transition and try and get onto the back of her going on the bike, because if you don't, then that group's gone. And if she's behind you, then you know that she's probably going to pull everyone back into the race, so it's all going to come together. So yeah, you have to keep your eye on her, and she can really dictate the race. Yeah, she just makes the move whenever she feels like she wants to make the move, so you just have to be ready for that jump. But no, she definitely makes it interesting, and she makes it hard work sometimes.
See Georgia Taylor Brown waving there, trying to get the group working together.
Taylor Knibb taking that turn at the front.
So Taylor Knibb's really at the front here, looking behind. She's looking to see the damage she's done. Flora Duffy, Georgia Taylor Brown doing a lot of the work here. I think Taylor Knibb's going to attack at some point. What kind of point will she do that? And that Georgia Taylor Brown is always up there as well. Such an all-round athlete.